Hey everyone, welcome back to Torment, Tides of Numenera. We are in a seedy bar.
The longer I'm here, the more I miss my village.
With the 11-year-old girl that we just added to the party. So, why not just go to a seedy bar? But, this woman here, Clarion, has asked us to go around and recruit the people in the bar for some war that we don't really know anything about. I haven't decided if we're going to do that or not, but we are going to start talking to people, so let's see what they have to say. Though this woman's face is young, she has been beaten hard by the sun. She wears a tight-fitting skin suit under loose desert robes. Her eyes are a deep and unsettling black, with no whites to be seen. Occasional streaks of light race across them, flashing in the shadow of her hood, like stars plummeting in the sky. I am Leto. I saw your coming. Now you are here. How'd you know I was going to be here? Skeins of lives weave together in a tapestry. Your thread glows. It emerges from the sky, and a great darkness follows in your wake. I have seen you where you go. That is beyond my powers. What about yourself? To the northeast, in the middle of the Lost Sea, there is a small town called Jerboa. Dwarfed by the magnificence of the oasis of Mara Jolios, Jerboa is a poor town dependent on the charity of its neighbor. I was born in the slums. The Gibra, residents of the city, would sometimes tour our ghetto. One of them saw my eyes and declared me touched by their god, Nikul. They taught me the deep secrets of their church and showed me how to comprehend the tapestries in my mind. But one day I saw a light flare on Sage's cliffs. Though this city and mine suffer hostilities, I knew that I must brave those dangers. For I saw the darkening storm. I see the futures. I will not be able to return home, but I arrived in time to aid Dama in his struggle against the adversaries. For a time, I was able to read the strands to help our team prepare against the adversaries' attacks. But they learned to cloak themselves against me, and all I could see of their intent was generalized darkness. I am of little use against the adversaries now, but I remain to help against other foes. What are the adversaries? I waste water speaking of them. I do not know what they are, but I know what they represent. They are death of possibility, an existential threat to humanity. They sweep minds into themselves, consume individuality, and worship power. And they have learned to counter mine. I am helpless against them. Could you tell me anything about the people I travel with? Oh, interesting. Asked about Alagurn. Your regrets will destroy you. You carry your pain and your salvation, but you do not look closely enough to recognize the truth. Open yourself, hold your scars tight, and you may emerge whole at the end of your ordeals. Typical soothsayer platitude. Tell me what I need to know, or don't tell me anything. The future's light is not reducible to simple words. Not everything conforms to the science you treasure, priest. I have told you what you need to know. It's up to you to seize the truth, or let it fall to the ground unheeded. About Makina. As she opens her mouth to speak, Makina holds up a single finger. No, I don't want to hear about my future. I'll wind up second-guessing myself or pretending that prophecy made something possible instead of living. I don't want any part of your fortune-telling. And if you say anything else here, I'll ask you if you saw this coming. I see your determination, assassin. I will not speak of your future. But Ren. Child, the future is uncertain. The one you travel with is a decisive force in your life, though it remains to be seen whether this force is for good or for ill. I cannot advise you, for your future is in flux. You must make the choice yourself. Okay. What can you tell me about the people here? I know the stories of my comrades in arms, their past and their future. I have a deep bond with Ziob, a friendship with Therberos. My respect for Dama knows no limit, and I have fond recollections of Firiak's ready wit. I wish I could unravel the skein of perception and live in the present as many others do. But it is not to be, and so I scramble across the web of time and know the threads of my friends. Okay. Variok looks like the bartender. Bartender is a tall, powerfully built man with nut brown skin and a bushy beard. He radiates strength and confidence. He moves with speed when necessary and remains almost motionless the rest of the time, like a predator waiting to leap. Yet when he prepares a drink, he doesn't touch a thing. His brows furrow slightly and the bottles and glasses lift themselves. Welcome to the Fifth Eye, friend. I'm Variok. Tell me about this place. The Fifth Eye is a bar for psychics, at least it is now. In the prior worlds, near as we can tell, it was an old pumping station. All these pipes lead down to some reservoirs deep beneath the city, and they pump whatever is in the reservoirs up there. Anyway, some damn fools started drinking from the pipes. Some other fools started in too. Some of them died, but some of them got drunk as hell. After a few whiles, vague enough for you, they got pretty good at figuring out which were safe and which weren't. And that's when they figured they'd start making money off the place. Reason psychics flock here is because the building dampens out the psychic noise of the city. The drink helps too. Variok means to say that he is only involved in the delivery of those drinks rather than their creation. Given his skills, this is only right and proper. I have been maligned by this desert-dwelling interloper. Okay, this is... yeah, I don't really want to drink right now, so... Let's see...
Let's go.
Sir Arthur. This man has leather dark brown skin and hair as white as a full moon. He peers at you from beneath long strips of eyebrows, sucking on a long pipe that has been made from either segmented wood or the leg of an enormous insect. His clothing is blue and formal, like a priest or a professor of some kind. All over him, on his belt, in every pocket, on both shoulders, even hovering in the air around his head, are glowing, chittering devices of all kinds. Let me guess. You're a traveler, that much is clear, an explorer, yet you have the look of a farmer visiting a teeming metropolis for the first time. Never seen the like, have you? Fortunately for you, I adore educating folks on the subject of Numenera. I've also traveled extensively and have seen much of the world. Go ahead, ask me whatever you would like to know. Who are you? Goodness, forgive me. Sir Arthur Torment, traveler, explorer, and lifelong student of the Numenera. I have seen everything between here and the Steadfast, and I have studied Numenera of all kinds for decades. There is no man more knowledgeable about the Ninth World than he who sits before you, I assure you. Why are you here? Knowledge, of course. I have traveled all over the Steadfast and the beyond, but I had to know what was beyond the beyond. Who knows how much time I have left in this world? I wanted to see for myself. Okay, why are you here in this tavern? Libations. I'm trying to determine the nature of these fantastic liquids. Also, the people here are quite informative. No better place to learn about a city than its taverns. Okay, so what are Numenera? The Numenera are practically everything around you. We live among the detritus of uncountable civilizations, many of which were more powerful than you or I can imagine. Everything they left us is the Numenera. Weapons, power sources, medicines, gels, plants, animals. Why, even the very drit in the ground and the shins in your pocket are examples of Numenera. It's such a broad term that the Order of Truth has categorized the Numenera with terms like oddities, ciphers, and artifacts. Of course, any true student of Numenera considers these categories too broad still. I have my own distinctions, but that is neither here nor there. In any case, it is the Numenera that power the wonders of the world, from an explorer's esoterics to the datasphere to the drinks in this very tavern. How do you categorize the Numenera? Ah, fascinating question. I'll give you the brief version because you obviously have places to be. Put simply, I am less interested in how useful a device is than its means of function. Now, the technology of the prior worlds is far too incomprehensible and varied for us to understand which civilizations created what, but we can define some basic categories. Many devices deal with fundamental forces: gravity, magnetism, sound, light, and even time itself. Automatons and created intelligence fall under artificial life. Biotechnology covers a wide variety of Numenera. Many plants and animals that we consider natural were in fact created by prior worlds for some arcane purpose. The bloom may fall under this category. Someday I'll hire a team to find out, if I can find anyone reckless enough. There are chemical devices as well as those dealing in various forms of matter, metals, liquids, crystals, and conversions between the three. The most interesting are the most esoteric: nanotechnology, which covers much of what common folk consider magic, transdimensional tech, and technology related to the datasphere itself. But those are just the classifications I prefer. The Numenera defy definition. Okay. I don't know if I actually want to read all this stuff. How's the Drit part of the Numenera? Run your hand through the soil, son, and you'll find that it's hardly soil at all. It's filled with the microscopic remains of ancient unknown technologies and structures, commonly known as Drit. Why in some places the Drit is even alive. I don't recommend sleeping on the ground in those places, by the way. Terribly unnerving for the survivors. What's the datasphere? It's difficult to say exactly. At a most basic level, the datasphere is information stored within the air itself, but it's much, much more than that. Several of the prior worlds created similar spheres of knowledge around or throughout the world. Our term datasphere encompasses all of them, the connections between them, and the effects thereof. For example, people talk about glimmers, visions from another place or time. These are actually some portion of the datasphere accessing human minds. Some ciphers, even some nanos, can access arcane knowledge from the datasphere. Why, even so-called telepathy is sometimes two people communicating through the datasphere without realizing it. The datasphere, as a subject of research, is far too large for several lifetimes. Alas, I have only been able to spend my time delving into devices that seem to use it, but not the datasphere itself, or rather, the various incompatible networks that comprise the datasphere. Maybe someday. What are shins exactly? Ah, you are new, aren't you? Shins are the currency. The Aeon priests believe that some very ancient prior worlds use specific metals or crystals as currency per their rarity. But of course no metal is truly rare anymore. Half the nanos I've met can transmute metal into crystal. Why, I once transmuted flesh into gold, though not entirely on purpose. Anyway, rarity is useless as a means of value, so the value of shins is necessarily a social construct. Shins can be any coin-like object or jagged bit of interesting metal, though I think you'll find that there is a remarkable agreement as to what does and does not constitute a true shin. Many realms in the Steadfast actually meant their own money, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a traveling merchant who didn't accept anything you had on you at the time. Okay. Well, let's talk about something else. Actually, I don't know. Tell me more about the world. Oh my gosh. Of course, ask me anything you like. I've traveled all over the Ninth World throughout the Steadfast and beyond. I even know a little bit about this part of the world, the so-called Beyond the Beyond. I've met explorers of all kinds and listened to countless stories, so what is it you would like to know? Why do they call this the Ninth World? An interesting question. One would think that it was because 8 worlds came before us, but even a cursory study of the Numenera reveals far too much breadth and variation for there to have been a mere 8 prior worlds that created it all. One then might ask what qualifies as a world. We could say the 1st through 8th worlds are defined as the most powerful or influential civilizations of their eras, but even that fails under the most basic reasoning. If the previous 8 worlds we refer to were the greatest of the ancients, then what qualifies this world, wherein we cannot even understand the most basic theories of governing time, augur to be the 9th? To be truth, I'm afraid, is that we call this the 9th world simply because that is what we have decided to call it, no more and no less. That's all for now. I have a feeling if we ever need any more background information, we can come back and talk to him. Okay, Cerberus. The man is old and strong, his face lined with years of brutal experience. His face is aquiline, his nose sharp. He wears a broad-brimmed hat, and his voice is a low rasp. I'm Cerberus. Tell me your story, make it a good one. I was born falling from the sky, and now I'm trying to repair a chamber that will stop a nightmare. How do you like that? You're telling the truth. A lot of people embellish or they lie outright, try to pretend they're more than they are so that people remember them as giants. More often than not, they just end up looking ridiculous. You've given me a rare treat, thanks. So what's it? What do you want? Can't help you with your chamber, but maybe there's something else. What can you tell me about the adversaries? I don't want to talk them up. It's important to understand they're not unbeatable and they're not immortal. They're tough, hells yes, but they can be stopped. That said, what are they? You've heard of spirits, beings of pure thought. That's what they are. Except they're more like living hate, like every nightmare of fear that you can't escape, a vortex of despair, and that's why we fight, because they're poison. Okay. Who are you? I'm the brains of the operation. Without me, they'd lose the thread of their thoughts and spend all their time wandering in the dreams. Dama says, we're just trying to get away from your nagging. It's the nagging that sharpens my word, Dama, though I admit that my words are probably getting duller every second I spend talking to you. Let's call me a warrior of language. Words are my weapons and my treasures. They might be pretty sounds to you, but to me, they're the tools that pry open your imagination and leave you vulnerable to my friends here. I build pictures, set the scenes, and create mazes in your mind. I'm also the last person in the world to know the lost worlds of Kra. They're a weaponized meme, a thought that sticks in your head, a tune you can't get rid of, a saying that echoes in your mind until it drives you mad and melts your brain. You don't have to talk about this, Therbros. It's eating away at him. He has it compartmentalized, but he says that he can feel it burning away at his mind. I feel the power in you. Can you help him? Oh, interesting. What are you going to do about this weaponized meme that's burning your mind? Well, I could always kill myself. Honestly, I don't think anyone else could carry it. The alternatives are too horrific to bear. I love my colleagues here, but can they handle the words of Kra? I don't think so. Right now I've got them locked into a mental construct no one has even the slightest idea how to build. Wow, should I take it on? That's weird. I'm expecting that this is like some really super annoying song that once you get in your head you can't get rid of it. But yeah, why not? I do have a space in my mind. Really? And how is it you're a better custodian of the words of Kra than I am? I'm more than strong enough. Use your psychic ability to read me. Well, that's not a very good chance, but let's give it a shot. Hey, succeeded. He focuses on you and you feel something like the skittering of spiders across your mind. They plunge inside and suddenly you sense his presence in the labyrinth, and you can feel his mind recoil. Yes, I think you'd be an excellent vessel. Do not use the word. Keep it contained, you hear me? He leans forward and whispers the word into your ear. It is a beautiful word, and you feel your tongue curling to shape it aloud. Thurboros claps his hand across your mouth, his eyes tight on yours, and with his mind he drags the knowledge of the word into the labyrinth, into a disused corner, and he seals it with an image of steel, glass, and dark infinities of space. He leans back, panting. Ziob. Yes? I need a piece of my mind cauterized. Here. He touches his hands to her temples, and she to his, and they lean forward, their foreheads touching. With a flare of light, you see a flare of light, and he cries out in pain, but doesn't let go. When they release their hold on each other, you see a small, smoking hole in his forehead. I couldn't take the chance it would leave a trace of itself in there. It's gone from me. It's your responsibility now. Wow. Okay. I'm glad I could help. Let's see, Dama, he's supposed to be like the leader of the group, so maybe we should be talking to him. A wispy mustache on this pudgy middle-aged man would be almost comical if it weren't for his deep and despairing eyes. They are the eyes of a man who's passed through the gates of alien hells and returned, though not necessarily whole. His fingers, tightly wrapped around some fine glassware, are strong and slim, a musician's fingers or a strangler's. Before you can open your mouth to speak, he says, "What is that place in your head?" It's a labyrinth. A labyrinth? That's a novel construction. I've seen people construct psychic fortresses, cathedrals, graveyards, hellscapes, and vortices from which no life escapes, all dramatic places, all powerful and forbidding. But a labyrinth? Well, that's a whole different construction. That speaks to cunning and guile. Do you mind if I take a quick look? Seems like a strange thing to carry and not know anything about. I'd rather you didn't. Smart move, keeping strangers out of your mind. When we get to know each other, let me know if you change your mind. I'm Dama of the Bloom. I have a request for you. It might seem strange, but you have an interesting topography to your mind. You might be able to help us. The Fifth Eye is home to psychic veterans. We fought an incursion of nightmares, I suppose. Nightmares slithering into the city's shared dreamscape, eating minds and leaving husks behind. We called them adversaries. We burned them out and cauterized the wounds through which they infected our reality, but I can't shake the nagging feeling that one of them survived and waits to strike. I trust my intuition, and now it's telling me to ask for your help.
Making a note.
What do you need? My thanks. I feel the adversary. I know it's here. I know it's close. It's watching us, but it's hiding from its presence, and I fear it will strike when our guard is down. It may well be in the Fifth Eye even now. Sadly, our Fifth Eye is blind. He jerks a thumb at the bartender. It might be that our foe has blinded us, but it might not have shielded itself from you. Look for it and tell me if you find anything unusual. Okay. Tell me about yourself. I told you they call me of the Bloom. I was born there, and I know nothing of the world outside. I knew nothing of the world outside for the longest time. I thought it was normal to play in passages made of gut and tissue, to hide from slavers and diverticula, and watch visitants staggering in from other worlds. I learned how to read people there and how to understand them, and one day I left the Bloom and came to Sage's Cliffs, and I discovered the world was a different place than I thought, a better place. That's when I learned to fight. That's why I learned to fight. This isn't a warrior's body, of course, not in the usual sense. But I'm not usual. No one in the Fifth Eye is. We're psychics, psionics, seers, call us mind benders or thought rippers, but we're warriors. We keep the minds of Sage's Cliff safe from threats they don't even imagine. Thoroughborough says they'd go crazy if they did. Not that they're exactly paragons of sanity in the best of times. Tell me about the people here. Sure, but keep in mind that most of them can hear us. What do you want to gossip about? He gestures around the bar. They've all got stories. Some of them aren't from this world. Some of them aren't even real. There's Thoroughborough's Ziob and Leto. Oh, and Feriok. We own the place together. We've fought in all manner of wars, battles, and conflicts. We've traveled for some, worn Esper helmets for others, or projected ourselves across the world. But the worst was the adversaries. They were the true test for all of us. They forged our friendship tighter than any other experience could have. Best part is, we sacrificed our lives, our friends, and our sanity for a city that'll never know. They keep on with their daily lives and just assume the rash of madness is some effect of the Numenera. Gave up the best part of our minds, and they don't even care. Doesn't matter to me what the rabble think, but it'd be nice to get at least some professional recognition. We've been over this, Thoroughborough. We don't do it for ourselves. We do it because it's the right thing. Why does it matter if they know or not? The important thing is that you took action. Oh. Sure, saving the lives of people who flinch when they see me coming. I love seeing mothers snatch their children up from my path. Clearing the insects from my bedroll is the next important step in knowing that I took action, because the ingrates of Sage's Cliffs won't even sell me a damn clean sheet. If they were dead, at least I could steal their sheets. Wow, that's dark. Who do you think the adversaries would go after once all the citizens were dead, friend? You think they'd head out into the world, leaving your mind glowing bright behind them? Thoroughborough says I could shield myself, no problem. I did it when they came out, remember, just like you. Dama says, yes, I did, but I found help, and we hunted down those bastards and wiped most of them out. You? If you were alone here, you'd get tired of having to hide your true self around them and start cursing at them just so they'd notice you. Thoroughborough says, you see what I have to put up with? As for a modicum of respect, instead I get mockery. I don't even know why we pay attention to this old gallows glass. You know what? I don't want to ask for gossip for these people, like, as they're standing here. So let's see. Well, Arthur's probably not an adversary. Let's see. I did notice this ghostly woman. Maybe she's it. Oh. Your eyes cannot focus on this person. Whether male or female you cannot say, but it hums with a force that both attracts and repels you. You feel a sense of amusement as its regard settles upon you. You speak with O, it says. You have tasted the truth in the form of machine lubricant. You have contemplated the totality of human existence. Speak quickly and true. Who are you? I am O. You might call me an ultra-terrestrial, though I am far more. I am from beyond space, beyond time, above your comprehension. Your mind has chosen this form for me, and I am content to exist in this structure, but know that I exist also outside of your subjective experience. Some might describe me as a superpositional extraction of fundamental universal laws made tangible. I am a word made flesh, a letter at least, a concept covered in a false skin, infinitely malleable, essentially unknowable. Okay, what are you doing here? I am here to see the final attempt at entry by the adversaries. I am here to offer a vision to Leto. Did you say this is the final attempt? The adversaries thought to peel through realities to devour this world as they have others. They have never lost. This world is the first taste of defeat. Within themselves, the eaten cores of their victims begin to stir. The adversaries will cease to exist in any meaningful form within a millennium if they are stopped here. This is an inflection point. If the warriors here succeed, the adversaries do not rise again for an aeon. So it is written. You said you had to offer a vision to Leto. She is prescient. She is the mother of empires. The adversary's presence has polluted her vision, and she has strayed from the page. I am here to reunite her with the truth. I do not intervene, but the story was true, and so it is true, and so this is not an intervention. The vision will come when you have left the city. Okay. Where do you come from? You would not understand. Let me show you. Its eyes widen, expanding to fill the room, your vision, your consciousness, and you tumble into starry immensity, swirls of nebulae, twist and knot, and in the hearts of those stellar clusters roar hungry vortices. You tumble helplessly into a myriad of them at once, torn apart and then reformed in an instant, a being of pure light and will you find yourself standing at the fifth eye again. Your nose is running and tears streak your cheeks. You wipe them away numbly and you realize that your hand is streaked with blood. Oh, great. I permanently gained an intellect, though, but I took damage. That was a decent trade-off, I guess. Too much information, too much knowledge. Had I shown you more, the energies that bind you together would have failed. Okay. What does it mean to be a word? I was, am, will be. I see into the infinite past, into the illimitable future. When the cosmos erupted in a sea of light, I saw it. When the mechanism winds to a sad and creaking end, I will weep. At the moment the great wings of death enclose creation, I am the last vestige of dust, frozen, forever perfected. Okay, a moment. None here will know of our conversation. None will know its nature. None see me, nor will they recognize any sign of me. Even in this remarkable place they cannot know. But I give you a gift Castoff, and God and man, for yours is a true story. It is welcomed into the world. It was born from desire and will end in, but no, I do not tell you your fortune. Light envelops you, and when you open your eyes, O is gone. Gained 4 health. Nice. That was an interesting conversation. Yazig. The most distinguishing feature of this tall, vaguely awkward man is the yellow shirt he wears. He seems desperate to fade back into the scenery. When he sees you notice him, he gives you a faint, uncomfortable grin. Something about him seems off, as if he were a flicker in the air or strangely two-dimensional. He does not seem to emit a sense of presence at all. Why can't I sense you? Skist. The yellow shirt fades away. Uh-oh. In the skin, muscle, and bone, what remains is a vaguely humanoid shimmer. I am a Sig, Aaron, a transdimensional projection from the distant past. This Abikos form, this is not the truth of me, trapped in this body, but I am not this. It's an Abikos. A ghost, transdimensional, it feeds. I only watch and learn. Where are you from? This is such a weird bar, by the way. Distant past. Epochs ago, turning through time to see future overshot, maybe next to visit. Can you affect this reality? Only words. Nothing touches, only ideas, no physical energy conveyed. How did you get to this place in particular? When casting through time, saw light, drawn to civilized thought, admiring psychics. Okay. So this is a guy from the future who did not actually mean to come here. Okay, so ghostly woman. This whole place is kind of foggy. And I haven't even had a drink.
You've got it.
Okay. You draw closer, but the wispy form of the woman in the booth does not clarify. You can hardly discern the details of her ghostly face, and you can hear a chorus of whispering female voices that swarm around her like chance moths. Listen to the whispers. They are on the verge of comprehensibility, but they brush against your mind just below any conscious thought. You have a sense of vague longing, a loss that touches you and leaves you empty. Who are you? She had been ignoring you, but without a transitional state, her face is suddenly and furiously focused on yours. Another flicker, and her hands wrap around your throat. Ghost or not, the fingers are very real, and they are choking the life out of you. Try to escape. Okay. Alagurn's pretty good at this. 90%. Yeah, I would prefer not to die. Akina's good at this too. Ren, not so much. Okay, let's see. If I do this, I have a 70% chance. Base 30%. Alagurn. Why does Alagurn get level of effort 1? Oh, because he has the might. Why does Akina get to... Oh, she can spend more points. I'll let Alagurn do this one. 90%. That sounds good not to die. You manage to wrest her fingers from your throat, or rather Alagurn does, and you hurl her away. You come up in a crouch ready for another attack, but she is looking away from you as if nothing had happened. Okay, study her face more carefully. You peer more closely at her and she takes no notice of you. Her features are those of a teenage woman leaving childhood behind. Your memory sparks faintly. Those clothes look familiar to you. Wait, they're familiar because they were the fashion in Sage's Cliffs 9 centuries ago, and your mind has dredged that association from the depths. You've seen her face before somewhere in the city. The ghostly woman could be your twin. Really? Okay.
You've got it.
So I don't know, maybe she's the adversary, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right, Ren, you can do this.
Okay, I'm still feeling super guilty for letting her come with us. That's not going to end well, I don't think. Let's see.
All right, Ren, you can do this.
Ugh. He hasn't moved from the position at a table, but he's accumulated more glasses and more plates. That woman over there might be the adversary, but what can you tell me about the adversaries? Good question, better if I show you. He closes his eyes, and you feel an insistent nudge in your mind, then your vision goes black, replaced by a nightmare. You see void oblivion, a place where black stars hang and shriek with formless rage. Violet lightning arcs through the sky, and you witness enormous masses of pustulant orbs raging against each other. Streams of conscious thought rocket from them, and they scream of need, desire, hatred. Other emotions arise with these wisps of mental energy that curl like steam. They brush your consciousness with a touch, be slimed of unknowable hungers of an alien mind. These luminous wisps quest through invisible cracks in dimensional walls. They came through the bloom, shining and tenebrous at the same time. They offered games, riches, promises for the future. I felt their passage and was afraid, and I hid my mind from their questing touch. I felt them reach for me and cowered in my shell. Ziob says, those who didn't hide saw the lure, and they were drawn into that unwinnable mental game. Attracted by the light of the adversary's minds, they followed their dreams into madness. Psychics and normal people alike, the ruin of the city's minds was... You were wise enough to see beyond the lure and into the danger. You couldn't stand against them yourself, and so you hid. We all did. Not all, says Therebros. Some stood. They played the game and got cracked like glow globes. I felt them die, and their spirits got sucked into a vortex of endless fear. You did the right thing, Dama, and I've told you that before. Fine, but you've seen what the adversaries are like now. Inhuman with no negotiation. Maybe they're communicating with us and we don't understand them, but I tell you, if this is their hello, I don't want anything else to do with them. So those of us who survived that initial incursion gathered here. We set aside our differences and we fought back, but not with our own losses. Hang on, yeah, I haven't talked to this person yet. Ziobi. This woman's face seems timeless, neither young nor old, unblemished but somehow not perfect. Her dark and wavy hair floats like a cloud over her to her shoulders. When she speaks, her voice is musical, almost artificial. I'm Ziobi, and you are... When her table mates start smiling, she pulls them away. I'm not actually a mind reader like these two, just a joker. So you have no mental powers? Oh, I do, but they extend in other directions. She cocks an eyebrow, and her glass rises from the table to her mouth. She sips daintily, and the glass descends to the table. Tell me, are you from the area? A small hamlet, slightly isolated, but still within the broader Sage's protectorate? Somewhere near Averin Wood, perhaps? I actually don't know where I was from. I was born in a falling star. What? How is it that you know the language here? You must be particularly observant. Your voice, your inflections, your mannerisms, they speak of someone whose upbringing was based on an older version of the Sage's Cliff dialect that suggests an isolated aldea or an enclave of some sort. Can you tell me more about yourself? I am Ziobi. I hail from the western reaches of the Clock of Kala near the Methunis. I had the opportunity to serve with my fellows here in a number of disturbances, though if you wish to hear more about those conflicts, you must speak with Dama. I am their support, their backup, and if need be, their physical offense. What can you tell me about the adversaries? I don't know where they came from or what they want or any of that. I only know that they destroy everything they touch, and then I will destroy them. My friends pull their extrusions into the real world, and I get to sever them from their source. I love doing that. Can you tell me anything else about them? Sorry, I'm the heavy hitter. My friends point me at the problem and I take care of it. What's going on in this place? It's the Fifth Eye. It's where psychics and psionics of Sage's Cliffs have been coming for generations to protect ourselves from the noise of the city. Life is easier when you're among friendly people, those of your own kind. Though not everyone here is technically one of us. Some of the people you see here are manifestations of our minds. Some of them were called here by our minds. Some have come from other dimensions even. I have a challenge for you. One of the 5 of us who own this bar is a projection. Talk to the other veterans of the Psychic Wars and see if you can figure out which of us is the projection. You can ask each of us only once, so make your questioning count. Are you the psychic projection? Me? No, indeed. In fact, I'm projecting him now. It's my power that makes the projection possible. If I were you, I'd focus on, physicality. Best of luck. Okay. How about Dama? Ziobi challenged me to find out which of you is a projection. So are you real? Me? I'm as real as they come. Could a projection do that? He slaps his belly. Come to think of it, Ziobi could probably make one do that. And make it sound right too. She's good. But how would you test whether a psychic emanation was real? Touch him. He doesn't move, and your finger sinks into his flesh. He grins, satisfied. Ziobi said I should focus on physicality. Here's a hint. Projections play on your expectations, but they're pierced easily. Good luck with it. I don't have any more questions about this. That's it for now. Okay, how about Cerberus? Do you actually agree with Dama that action is its own reward? You know that good wishes don't get the landlord off your back, right? Satisfaction for a job well done doesn't magically bring food to the table. You and Dama both. It's like you believe in a special world where people get on by force of their own good nature. It's not like that. Maybe in stories, not here. You do the right thing because it's right. Idealist, bah, there's no talking to you people about this. Ziobi said one of you veterans is a psychic projection. Is it you? A psychic projection? That's an interesting way to word it, Z. Couldn't you say we're all psychic projections in one way or another? Put it this way. Are you always how I picture you? Does your behavior change based on my thoughts? Yes, depending on, no, your thoughts are your own, as are your opinions. They have nothing to do with me. I'm getting a lot of red tide lately. Heh, so if you hear that I've been telling people that you're a Tulky runoff and your body's full of schist, I'm of a mind to cut you open to prove it. You don't change your behavior? Keep in mind, I've done nothing to you, but in this example, not one damn thing. At least not in the physical realm, but I've affected you anyway, purely with the power of my thoughts and my words. He taps his head with a gnarled finger. We might as well say we're all interconnected at a fundamental level, that our thoughts and actions have effects on each other. It might not be reality, that is the truth, but we each have a perception of a truth. It's a guiding star that we use to live our lives. It's not reality for everyone, but it's reality for us. It's our story. Dama says, oh no, Ziobi, Cerberus is getting started again. Hush you, I'm lecturing. Even if we don't understand reality, we understand stories, so maybe our best gauge for how we experience each other is through the stories we know and the words we use when we tell those stories. What I'm really telling you is I'm not Ziobi's projection. Maybe learn some of our tales and you'll get to the truth, a truth anyway.
Here we go then.
How about Leto? Are you... Ziobi says that one of you is a psychic projection. Are you a projection or are you real? Who can say what reality is? I see strands of possibility tying the future and the past together. Probabilities grow and decrease. Is a small probability reality? In one universe it will be. In another it has vanished into a web of might-have-beens. An opportunity for nostalgia or gratitude at avoiding it. I tell you the reality is more than our perception of time. It exists beyond us. What is in the past extends to our future. Touch the threads of the past and you will see their intended shape. Know what it is you seek and you will be able to discern your reality. What are you even saying, Leto? Only that one who would question reality must know that how reality should behave. I am not the projection you seek. Being named O is here to give you a vision. Says you will be the mother of empires. She stares at you, her mouth opening slightly. Her eyes flicker across the bar, landing on no one in particular. I have not yet received the vision in... A mother? Me? I am barren. I will give no life. She pauses. Her hands are shaking. I see only a stain when I look at myself, nothing more. A miasma occludes my vision of myself. Now, that's sad. Very odd. Dama said you're blind. What does that mean? I used to be the spotter for the gang. Means I could sense the presence of the adversaries, build an attractive playground for them, and draw them after me. The last one I faced, though, it burned me out. It put out my eyes. It burned me out. It put out my... And then he's back to normal, smiling as if nothing had happened. Ziobi challenged me to find the person who's a psychic projection. Are you the one? Now, why would I come right out and tell you? If Ziobi's playing a game, why should I spoil her fun? Come on, puzzle it out. But let me offer you a clue. Know your subjects. I guess that's the kind of thing an empath would say, huh? Dama hinted I should touch you. Fine, touch away. His flesh is as hard as and unyielding as synth steel. Clean living. Theraboros said I should know about people's stories. What stories do you want to question? I was the group's spotter, an empath, until the adversary burned out the skill. It's basically all you need to know. They just said you were an empath, not a telekinetic. Did she now? What if I developed telekinesis after the adversary stole my empathic ability? Interesting.
Consider it done.
Okay. Let's see. I'm probably wrong, but I know who the psychic projection is. Who? I think it's Feriok. I could be wrong, though. She laughs delightedly. I won't even ask how you figured it out. If you guessed, it was a lucky guess, but your instincts were right. But then her face falls. I began manifesting him after he was killed. See, I kind of figured that. He was our spotter, the man who saw the adversaries and lured them out to the battleground. But the last adversary we fought, it was ready for us. It caught hold of the lure he offered, and it followed his mind all the way to reality. It burned. She pauses, chokes back a sob, burned him from the inside. He lured it to us, and with his dying will, nailed it into place. Dama says it was a sacrifice any of us would have made, Sayabi, no matter who was in that position. The adversary didn't pay attention to us, even as we poured our heaviest attacks into it. It was too absorbed in destroying Feriok, tearing him apart instead of defending itself, as if its first priority was in blinding us instead of preserving itself. We beat it, though. So, as long as I'm breathing, I'll keep his memory alive. He'll serve drinks and make his bad jokes, and everyone here will feel welcome. It's the least I can do in his name. Oh, that's sad.
I'm ready.
Let's see. Let me check. I'm trying to figure out who the adversary is here. Dama thinks the adversary is somewhere close, watching him and his friends. It means it's somewhere in the fifth eye, but it must be concealing itself from him. If I encounter anything suspicious, I should tell Dama at once. I'm going to tell him about the ghost woman over there. Might have a lead. Grateful for your help, friend. Tell me your suspicions, and I'll see if I can confirm or allay them. There's a strange ghostly woman over there. Ah, yes. While she's unpredictable and possibly dangerous, she's not an adversary. We tried to remove her before, yet she always returns. Rather than risk any damage, we stay out of the way. I advise you to do the same. Could it be Clarion?
I'll remember that.
He bursts out laughing. I understand that her devotion to destruction might make her seem like a monster, but like the rest of us, she's merely human. Okay, how about the man in the yellow shirt who changed his shape?
I'll remember that.
That poor lost soul is not the adversary. He has been trapped in the form of an epic ghost, but is not an epic ghost himself. Do not fear him, pity him. How about the man in blue?
Updated my journal.
Arthur. Sir Arthur? No, he's a wanderer and a collector of knowledge, but his interest appears to be entirely beneficent. He's a strange one, it's true, but no, he's not the adversary.
I'll remember that.
I've sensed O's presence and reached out to it with my mind. It was not an adversary, it's, well, I don't know how to describe it, but rest easy, because O probably won't destroy you. Probably. Okay.
Let's go all. You and
next time, since I haven't figured it out quite yet, next time we will go and, I think we actually talked to everybody, but it's possible. What about you, Sig, there? Anyway, it's possible that I've overlooked somebody or overlooked something important. In any case, we'll check it out next time. But for now, yeah, we'll just... Last Castoff will probably just sit down, have a nice little drink, and think things through. And we'll figure out who the adversary is, or what the adversary is, when we come back next time. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.